plan. No. Cause I know what I'm getting into. Yes. Yeah. And nothing can stop me. No. Cause I'm addicted to what you and I realize. Lead the way. I follow. No need to say. Where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all. So tell your good night, 'cause I'll find no matter what. Yeah, susceptible now before the moment flies. Before it flies. So tell you goodbye, 'cause I'll find no matter what. Susceptible now before the moment flies.
What is going on, guys? What is going on? Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, episode 105, guys. Hope you guys are all thriving and prospering out here. Episode 105 as we gear up towards about the second week in November here. Tonight's episode is going to be relatively short, guys, because of the fact that it took us a little bit to kind of get to this. George, how's my Wi-Fi, by the way? I just want to make sure everything's on point because this is a new laptop, guys. So I just want you guys to kind of bear with me. I literally just got this set up around like 2. So if I have some Wi-Fi connectivity issues, I do apologize. But let's get the ball rolling here. Tonight's episode 105, is essentially just going to be a short 30 or 45-minute episode. We're just going to keep you guys current. We're going to keep you guys informed. Before we even get into that topic, as always, we're your hosts for the evening. I'm Steve Ushler. Joined alongside me on the other end is the man himself.
G-Money, G-Mac, or George M, as I'm known, as I'm PKA, professionally known as D-Mac. Glad to be here, bro. Good to be here, could still bring a good episode, despite a very long week and having a great episode last week, riding off that momentum a little bit. Kind of want to come up with this one. This was an episode where we had initially had ideas for it, but we ended up doing it a little differently. So, it was just kind of like one of those episodes. Of course, there's some upcoming ones coming up, guys. Will be very important and very big ones. But today is more or less, it's almost like almost like a research show, or just like a show to bring you guys some stuff that's going on. It's not so much, what necessarily what we do, but how we kind of like see things going on in our own city, in the current state of events in Philadelphia and PA, but a little bit everywhere, though. We'll be talking a little about stuff around the world too, a little bit. And we'll talk about the fall. I mean, it just falls in the fall. And it's a lot going on here. Obviously, our teams have been pretty much on fire. A few teams went all the way to the final, but couldn't quite get the chip or the championship home. It sucks a little, it does burn a little disappointing, but, we keep going forward. And, it's definitely a crazy time to be around, to be alive, but also a crazy time to have a voice and to know what's going on. Just because you're alive, you watch what's going on doesn't mean you know what's going on. You might just watch something, but you might be lost in space, but on Earth. So, a lot of events going on, and kind of glad those things to light, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be, it's just going to be to keep you guys ultimately current. We honestly, amongst everything else that's kind of going on, we don't want to skip this week for you guys. We obviously wanted to come on and drop you something. So, this one is going to be more of a current events one. Also, before we put the intro on tonight, I know George has my away message thing. Well, my avatar on there. I think it's because everything's kind of controlled through here. Anyway, no, before we even get into tonight's topic and play the intro here, I do want to say a big thanks to Will, who came on last week. What is Will's last name again, George?
Eldestein.
Okay.
So Will Eldestein.
Okay.
Everything.
I just wanted to give a
Everything.
shout out to Will,
Brandon.
and I wanted to give a shout out
AKA
to him.
George
And just,
Testos. Shout out
yeah,
to my
yeah.
boy
Thank him
Will.
for coming on and talking about
Thanks for coming.
his business essentially, and then how he kind of put it together. We talked about the entrepreneur, the stuff that goes into kind of creating, I guess, the intangibles that kind of go into creating a successful business. Will had started his brand in 2020 and is still carrying it out to this day. Well, actually, 2018 he started it, and he carried it through the pandemic into
For
today.
about 5 years, he said, like 4.5, 5 years. Like
Yeah, it's
four,
going on
but
five.
we've been doing it for a
Yeah.
while. So, shout out to
Oh.
Will, still the big homie. We'll probably have Will back at some point, and a couple guys that we had in the past that we would like to bring back. I mean, it's never a number of times or a limit how many times you can bring people back. I mean, it's always a different story, different type of vibe or interview, and that's what we hope to achieve here. But like I said, man, we'll talk more about this later. But we definitely have a couple other sort of like guests or hosts that want to bring. Besides guys like for example, Will himself, he does have his own podcast. So does my boy uh, Lobo, aka Jorge George. His name is George like me, but he goes by Lobo, Wolf, Spanish for wolf. My man's, he does a podcast. I want to bring him on ours and possibly, have him, maybe he can bring us to his, or I might do it. And it's ironic because he actually is in Florida now, but he's by way of North Jersey, Passaic. But I believe he's in Tampa right now with one of my other boys, Jojo, who's a fighter. They're both fighters, MMA fighters, like myself, and guys that train and trainees and all that. But they also do a podcast and kind of like doing a lot at once. So, you know what I mean? Trying to connect with some of those guys, man. But
Nice.
yeah, man, today's a good episode. I'm kind of, leaning towards like this one, today. And a lot to talk about, right? There's definitely a lot. I know you've seen a lot going on outside, in our environment. Where we,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in regards to sports, politics. Thanksgiving
movies.
holiday is coming up, so obviously there's a lot of things going on in the city. Travel plans. Just there's a lot going on right now. And Thanksgiving it's always a back-to-back holiday because you got Christmas right around the corner. So obviously a lot going on right now. But we'll play the intro, and we're actually gonna play by a little bit of a request. One of the old school intro for this one before we get started. But we will see you guys on the other side. All right, guys. My Wi-Fi I think is a little bit acting up. Can you hear me all right, George?
Okay, you're fine, bro. Yeah, you're fine. Okay, you're perfectly.
Not breaking up at all?
No,
all right,
not
cool.
at all. Just checking.
Awesome. All right, guys. So as we said, this episode is just an episode 105. It's going to be pretty brief here tonight. Just wanted to hop on the mic. So if you guys have anything to add, feel free. Comment below. As always with the platforms, like, share, subscribe. You can like our content on Facebook. I'm assuming if you're watching, we do have a public page. So if you're not already following us in that page, hit the follow button. If you're watching us on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, click the subscribe button, hit the notification button so the notifications on, because we release new episodes every single week, primarily on Thursday, and you do not want to miss the content. if you ever want to follow us on any of our pages. You can also go check out our Linktree link that is down below. It'll give you access to all of our platforms, which includes our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify account. We have our personal website on there. We have our personal merch store. You guys can check us out on all platforms. It's awesome. And we always appreciate the support. Number 3, just sit back, relax, enjoy the podcast. It's 2022, guys. Be true and be you. With that being said, as we said, if you joined after the intro, see a couple people kind of dove in here after the intro. We're just talking current events, essentially in the city of Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. We're going to talk a little bit about sports in the city, a little bit about politics, a little bit about Thanksgiving kind of looming, things that are going on inside the city. Just going to kick it off. Where do we begin tonight, man? Where do we begin? Where do you want to start tonight?
Let's talk about. Let's start with like basically just Philly itself a little bit, like the whole sports culture here, what's been going on recently, the scene, and well, as two guys that I'm not saying that we know everything's going on and we control everything, we've seen everything, but we're around enough. We've definitely been around long enough, and I feel like we like, I mean, at least I can speak for myself, bro. I travel the city a lot, bro. A lot of times things going on, bro. And I'm seeing a lot of, it's a lot of hope for the future for the teams. Everybody's really happy right now with the state of things. But then again, the Phillies did lose to Houston, unfortunately, in the World Series. So it was a little bit of a cold shower, if you will. But the fact that no one expected the Phillies to go that far, and he brought a lot of us sort of like that feel of being a Philadelphian and being from here, liking your team, supporting. I've seen a lot more people being supportive, and not, there's always gonna be some trash talking at the usual online going on, interactions, trash talk, debates, people talking crap at each other, fights, and even violence. Sometimes he gets violence, so we know that when the teams win. But this time around, it seemed a little more. People are more kind of like united. Everybody was kind of happy, and it seemed like things were going pretty well, essentially, until about the night we lost, which was last Saturday. For those that don't know or might have missed it, and also the same day, the Union played in the MLS final, which I don't know if I don't want to say the wrong things. I don't know. I'm not sure it's the first time, second time. I know they've done well in the past, but they went all the way in the final and they lost in a penalty shootout to LA Galaxy, I believe. Was it LA Galaxy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, turn event, they scored first. They tied. They got some good players. On paper, they're supposed to be the better team. They got guys and names like Gareth Bale, Welsh International, one of the best players in the world now, which I didn't even know he played in LA, to be honest. It's not the loop I've been. I had to do some research, catch up on that. He left Spain, Real Madrid, to go to LA because they pay him good money here, so he's playing here. And he played with some of the biggest names in the world. And, of course, he's the one that scored against us. We scored first, and then he tied. So, you actually called me that day. We're talking. Me, you, and Mary, so all talked that day. And he went over the finals, always a penalty shootout. We lost. We did really bad in a penalty shootout. Our players could not score for nothing. And their goalie saved everything. And we started with our goalie saving one, We have a good goalie. That guy's a good player, man.
Yeah, ultimately it was a good match. The Union honestly should have won the game. It was just like a lot of I don't know, man. It's tough. Yeah, but it's tough to swallow. Losing when you were 2 minutes away from a championship, essentially. That's tough to swallow. I don't know. It's a tough one. But the current state, breaking it down from a simple thing. The current state of Philadelphia sports, it's still in a relatively good position, right? The Philadelphia Phillies, although we lost, it's doom and gloom. We ride with our teams. I know Philadelphia fans specifically, they don't ever want to hear this, but at the end of the day, sports, it's a distraction from life, right? We enjoy sports. It's entertainment. It's great. I feel like when teams are doing well in the city, essentially what you see is it motivates other people, right? I know I feel that way. When a Philly sports team, I don't really need a lot of motivation. I try to stay relatively disciplined. So I'm not really trying. I try not to rely too much on motivation. A year or two ago, I essentially was a lot of times relying on motivation.
Yeah.
But now, like I try to stay relatively disciplined and not really think of the motivation. But there's no lie that when a Philly sports team is doing well or a sports team that you enjoy watching, it kind of motivates you, right? You feel good. You're like, you know what? I want to go out and I want to crush it in my own life. Although sports is a distraction. But I'll break it down to you just real simply why I still think this city is in a great spot. Number one, the Philadelphia Union had never been to the MLS Cup. It was their first time there. That one's more so. That's really depressing because we were 2 minutes away from winning World Cup. I mean, winning an MLS Cup. Do I think they'll be back? I do. I do. To lose it with 2 minutes is just super tough. The Phillies. One thing I'll tell you about the Phillies is the Phillies were not expected to be where they were.
No,
honestly, if you really watch the Phillies throughout the year, they were up and down team. They were not phenomenal. I think a lot of people kind of hopped on a bandwagon with them. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you celebrate. I'll be honest. I was not the biggest watcher of the Philadelphia Phillies this year. I really wasn't. I did follow them. I kept up with the stats, but I didn't watch every game, nowhere near every game. But one thing I'll tell you that I do know about the Phillies is they barely made the playoffs. They got in. That was a big celebration. They got all the way to the World Series. They had no expectations to get there. You know, when
not
you get
this year, not this year. It was just kind of by chance a little bit, but they did really well towards the end of the season. So
you know, when you get there, you really want them to win at that point. We were up 2-1. It sucks. Houston was a very good team, though. You know, hats off to them. There's some cheaters on that team that I really don't like. But other than that, majority of the organization, they let go of a lot of the organization from back in 2017. So hats off to them. Hats off to Dusty Baker getting his first. We still have the Philadelphia Eagles, and don't forget about this one. Is that fun fact for you? Is that the last time the Houston Astros won the World Series, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. So in 2017, Eagles won the Super Bowl. Well, 2017 going into 2018, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I know it's just a fun statistic, but the Eagles are 8-0 right now. First time in franchise history. I do think they've played some easy opponents, but we've also played some tough opponents. A lot of people like to give us shit, but the Eagles look good. They seem very disciplined. They seem very hungry. They seem very humble. They don't overlook a lot of opponents.
They seem more prepared and less like you said, less like cocky. They actually have a good team. They're doing very well, so they're kind of like doing better than before. But I feel like the team has grown too, because that's the thing about Philly fans, man. Our fans will just say anything, and I'm gonna be honest. The Philly fans piss me off. I keep telling you, this is well documented, dude. I've beaten up more people, last year and a half, bro, that were Eagles fans than any other time in my life, bro. Last year, me and Cozy smoked a couple dudes, bro, talking shit in the club and acting out of pocket and saying some fuck shit and race shit. One of them, long story short, got an arm broken and a jaw broken, and that's what happens when you fuck with the team. And then last year again, two dudes, were doing, being drunk and starting trouble, like throwing chairs around. They got kicked out. They opened the door with their heads and bumped them out. So Philly fans, and I love Eagles fans, but some of them act retarded and stupid, bro. And let's just say that my fist take no prisoners, bro. I go after anybody, bro. And if stuff some shit like that, they're lucky I didn't take their fucking jacket. One of them had a really nice jacket. It's on camera too, when I told you, me and Mayman beat up those Eagles fans. Well, by the way, those guys are just fanatics. They're not a real fan. A real fan is a real supporter. That's what it is. Motherfucker fan. I'll say it twice. Motherfucker fan. We need supporters. We need people that have logic, that know the game, that can apply this to real life and actually go and watch the game and have a debate. And I don't need somebody who's going to talk shit about somebody. Oh, you're a Cowboy. No, I need somebody who's going to talk shit. How about we beat the Cowboys? Everyone, they're fans. I don't care about what they do. I care about we beat them fair and square and we look good beating them. I want to see consistency in our game, in our Eagles, in our players. I don't want to see BS. I'm not a fan of garbage plays. I'm not a fan of fights for no reason. And we're a place where we show a lot of games. There's gonna be a lot of idiots that come there, just like it's really live. There's always idiots right from the game. Sometimes it happens, bro. It's just the only thing that happens, man. I even had a black eye last year because of a situation that I was just kind of just doing my job, and it just happened like that. But like I said, man, it's been fun beating up with some Eagles fans, but I'd rather not do that, because it is my city after all. So let me just say that.
Yeah, I get it, man.
It's rough out there, It's a lot of fuck shit that happens. And also, let's be real. We're still in a great state, but let's not get misconstrued. Okay, the Phillies lost. That is a tough one to swallow, but we have to kind of go forward. But the Eagles are doing well, and the Sixers are kind of like back and forth a little, picking up. The Flyers are starting decent. I mean, God bless those workers in the streets that work here when the games happen and when we win big games or we go to the Super Bowl, the World Series, or the big, championship. But God bless those poles, the guys that actually grease them and actually clean them up, because people love to climb poles in Philly. That's a phenomenon that's been going on for a while. When we won a Super Bowl a few years ago in 2018, people are going up on poles and people are slipping and falling and cracking themselves and bleeding, like splitting their wig open. And guess what? They didn't give a damn. They were there to support their team. I'm like, yeah, it's serious. Of course, that's typical shit here. We see this every day.
That's just Philly for you. I mean, realistically. But you're right. The Sixers are kind of bouncing back. Flyers look actually good right now. This is still a good time for Philly sports.
Yeah, it's not like obviously sad because we
Obviously,
lost.
we would have liked to see 2 championships with the Union and the Phillies,
Can
but
you imagine, bro, if they had won that? I feel like the Eagles would have got motivation only because in their city, other teams do well. So not necessarily more motivation, but to give them like, yo, everybody's winning their city, which I think it did help. And he rubbed on them a little because the Eagles were 7-0, 6-0 at one point. Now they're
yeah, they
8-9,
are.
they're 8-0 now.
Well, they're 8-0 now. They're about to be
Yeah, they're
9
8-0 now, right? So when this was going on, the Phillies doing well, and the Union was like they were truly they were winning game after game, dude, beating big teams. So you know that had to a little bit rub off on the NFL, even though it's totally different sports. One has nothing to do with the other. The fact that the Phillies doing well, it's always that city thing that connects us, that that brings it together. I mean, after all, it is a city of brotherly love. Even though there's a lot of BS here, a lot of shootings, a lot of not brotherly love, we still are the city of brotherly love. We're still brotherly love. We still are the backbone of the East Coast. If New York is the rock, we're the backbone. I always say that, and we are the first capital, not by coincidence. So we are a very passionate city. We get behind our teams. Yeah, our fans can be at times jerks and all that, but I think every city has that. And because there's so much going on here, you'll meet all kinds of fans. You'll meet some guys that are very criticizing, and sometimes say hurtful things to players or fans. There's fans that just don't care. They don't want to see you win. There's fans that just like are completely a little out of it. I mean, they're just a little crazy. And there's longtime fans. I mean, I call them like the old timers. Although none of them are old timers, because you're a lifelong fan and you're not necessarily old timer, neither am I, because we're a certain age. But we'll be watching this for many years. We know what happened years ago. We following it closely. Like you said, when they win, we do good. I mean, it feels good too. When they lose, it sucks a little, but always better luck or better, a better record the following year. I mean, maybe the Phillies win next year. Who knows? I mean, maybe they'll start better. This year, no one thought they were going to go that far, and they came up. But Houston was just on paper a better team, as said by a few people.
They were. I mean, honestly, that's Philly sports for you, like in a nutshell. Honestly, we won't spend a whole episode on Philly sports because obviously, we cover them. We'll have some Eagles episodes throughout the year, like we said. We have, I guess, coming up.
Yo, Steve. By the way, no rush for me after this, bro. Actually, I don't gotta go. But I have to go. I gotta go somewhere else though. So I'll call you after the show. Just a little FYI. We'll talk after go off live, but maybe I'll hit you up. I mean, I might be able to come out and I don't know. Maybe I'll link up with you or something. But in the meantime, though, just so there's no hurry. We're still gonna keep it to our extension, guys. Like we're not gonna go 2 over today, just because that's how we left it. There's a reason why we kind of like decided to go a little shorter today, but we still got plenty of time. So we're still good on our time.
Yeah, guys, we were talking last week. Consistency is key. So even in the times when we don't really have much, we try to stay consistent.
Consistent as we can, man. And honestly, bro, I'll be honest. And it's okay because the audience knows this already. It's not like a secret or nothing. I feel like sometimes a lot of weight off your shoulders when you have a specific topic or you know what you're talking about. You don't got to do too much of promo. You do the promo, but you know exactly where you're going. And there doesn't have to be. It's more like a discussion as opposed to like a main topic with the showrunner we have at the time. Sometimes we put it on here on screen. But sometimes the showrunner just means like subtopic. It's like basically another name for it. You know what I mean? It's just like another sort of like another way to say it. I mean, because you can have like main topic could be like the Phillies, for example, and a showrunner could be do you used to eat like Chinese food, and another subtopic could be like Phillies sports culture. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what that means for those that might not understand some of the terms we use on the show here. So they're all kind of up to speed and know exactly what's going on. Yeah, but having said that, man, to kind of finalize here on a sports section of the Phillies, we all know that Philly is a sports city. It's also a fighting town. And some of the biggest games have been here. I mean, other than Madison Square Garden, we have, again, with some big arenas here, bro. We're known pro wrestling is huge here. Fighting is huge here. Like, just fighting sport, boxing primarily, but also MMA and, with the UFC now and wrestling and all that. Pro wrestling, of course. We are in the state where wrestling, amateur wrestling and wrestling, as we know it, it's I mean, we have some of the best high schools and colleges. Penn State is a powerhouse in wrestling that's never getting fucked up. So go PA. We're still in PA, we're still in Philly. And we come from a state where, yes, Philly is like the leader as far as cities, you know what I mean? But like I said, we probably should have won more trophies than we do win. But our fans always have that in them. It's like we support our team for real. And there's always fun events. Let's put it that way. And that kind of leads to the next portion of the discussion. I mean, there's always a nice event here, whether they're winning or not. If they're winning, it's going to be parades. It's going to be, I mean, even without actually winning the championship, there's going to be like nights where you just go out there like on a patty wax and it's just something going on for the field, like a mini event, and they got a DJ there, some kind of cool event. And for those that never been to Philly and watched and don't know what I'm talking about, there've been some great times.
Yeah, man, they're always good times. I mean, always.
Like, and unfortunately, though, like I said earlier, Stevie does always end up, almost always, I must say, in some kind of BS, like a fight or somebody throwing an egg or a bottle or some kind of BS or cops are cold. And it just shows you how, like, how intimate Philly is with its with the culture. We support our teams. Our guys that come from here, actors, athletes, rappers. I mean, look. I mean, again, and I don't want to use this example too much, but Meek Mill is a perfect example. He went from being in a cell to be flown to a game on a helicopter and a chopper. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, who can say that? Yo, I was in jail. I got out of jail right when it changed me, gave me some fresh clothes, and I went right to the game, right from jail. That's like from the worst to the best, to the first. Like the worst situation to the best situation, So
Exactly.
yeah.
So sports is just the entertainment side of it, and then we also have there's a lot going on in the city in general. Obviously, we just had, what do we have this past week? We had the general election, right, on
Elections.
Tuesday. But we saw a lot of results there.
Yeah.
And PA
The
Fetterman had
elections are big, and they've been going on for a while. But for state representatives,
So we live in Philly, so relatively, depending on where you're watching or listening to this podcast from. So obviously, in PA for Senate, we had John Fetterman versus Mehmet Oz. John Fetterman obviously, won that election, and it doesn't really surprise me, no matter what your
I'm not
affiliation
surprised
is.
at all. Actually, I was gonna say he's gonna win.
I'll be honest, I don't want to say it doesn't surprise me, but no matter who you really voted for,
It was close, but
this is PA has always majority been a relatively Democratic state because of Philadelphia alone. So it doesn't really super shock me. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that. We're not really a political podcast. We actually don't really talk politics on here very much, but you can always have an interesting discussion as long as you're not super biased or super subjective.
It was no, I was surprised, bro. I didn't know much about either one of them, but then I did more research. I would say it's sort of said you more about Dr. Oz, Emmett Oz, than I did about John Fetterman. It was done to death, bro. They, as they always do, everything was kind of like in our face for us to watch. Mastriano and Shapiro and all that.
But, Shapiro versus Mastriano. Another one. Doesn't shock me that Shapiro won. I thought Mastriano came off as relatively extreme in some of his things, and it really didn't shock me.
It's the way he expresses himself became very, very controlling. So
I think a lot of the Republicans inside the Republican side of it, a lot of the Republicans didn't really even like Mastriano, so it really didn't shock me that Josh Shapiro won either.
No surprise. As a matter of fact, bro, I'm more relieved more than anything because now I don't have to worry about this. Now, to all the people watching and friends of ours, legions of viewers, people that watch us, even maybe once in a blue, don't really watch a podcast. I actually was doing some work with the Dr. Oz campaign, but it was mostly a friend of mine whose name I'm not going to mention on the show, but he hasn't been here before, but he knows with the podcast. He had called me, he's telling me a little about it to kind of go to a meeting he did. So one day I decided to ride I actually rode my bicycle. Actually, I didn't go my car, but I was riding, and I called him, and he was doing some door-to-door stuff, for the political campaign. Met up with him, and then we decided to meet up a couple hours later at a nearby coffee shop, like a Starbucks, something like that. Met up there, and he was giving me some insights what's going on. And people that you'd be surprised, were voting for, one or the other, bro. Were actually if you think they're going for Oz, they're actually going for Fetterman, and vice versa. And like I said, I mean, with Dr. Oz, I wasn't not to get too political. He said we don't do politics here, and this is strictly based on more of the facts as we've seen them, mostly in perspective and opinions. We're not trying to convert nobody to whatever. We're not trying to divide no one. We're just being honest when we've seen. But like I said, I don't agree with a lot of what Dr. Oz was saying, but I just was kind of all right, let's just see what he's about and all that. So again, I was kind of leaning more toward that side. But I had done some research on Fetterman as well, and I'm well, I'm just not a fan of neither one of those guys, to be honest. But if I had to choose a lesser of evils, then that's just what I got to do. I said to myself, I just
you usually try to pick at least the most sound candidate, and what I mean is sound mentally. I think a lot of people's reason why they opposed Fetterman was mainly because it's not even as a joke. I'm just being honest. I know there's a lot of memes out there, but the man did have recently have a stroke. He was a stroke survivor, and you could kind of tell in his debates he just didn't seem super. How do I put it? Not really I don't want to say competent. I guess I want to say he was struggling to put sentences together. He was struggling to be able to talk regularly.
Yes,
I feel like that's dangerous. I feel like a lot of people, they would rather vote on a certain party, like red or blue, like Republican or Democrat, rather than realistically vote for who the best candidate is.
Who's a better candidate? You can't be a Democrat and vote for some Republicans and vice versa. You can be a Republican and vote for some Democrats. I was mostly raised Democrat for those that really know me, but doesn't mean that I don't see the benefits and I utilize techniques or how can I say like policies or things, from both, whether I'm doing some nonprofit, whether I'm actually with the campaign or whether I don't give a shit or I'm just watching as a bystander. I'll say that they both got some good stuff, brought some interesting points. I think they both got flaws. I would say Fetterman probably more than flaws. But like I said, the whole abortion thing, no, I'm not really for it, like the way that like Dr. Oz is, for like, oh, you gotta just ban everything, I wasn't necessarily with the whole banning thing, but there's gotta be some again, some new reforms that could be made, you know what I mean, with that. That's one thing I didn't necessarily agree with his campaign, but a lot of stuff, he had kind of like obtained my interest, so to speak, if we wanna like talk about this one and mention like between the two of them. But again, he came, bro. It's one of those things where they made a big deal about the campaign, and he comes, bro. Half people probably didn't show. I know a lot of people didn't go, bro. I asked my uncle, gonna go vote. He's like, vote. Fuck out of here. He didn't give a shit. He just walked away. Like, all right. So when I actually voted myself, and then I took my dad there as well. But I'm lucky. My thing is right here. I got a church here on the corner from my house, which is like I could virtually walk there, bro. It's just like it's right there, dude. And you'd be surprised that they're like, "Oh, thanks so much for voting." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. I gotta go now." Like, I didn't give a damn, bro. I was in it. My whole thing was go to vote and leave, get the fuck up out of there. I didn't want to stay there more than I had to stay there. But a lot of local, so like community, overseers, leaders. I'm forced to do it by the church. It's an Indian church called St. Thomas. That's what I did it at. And you have people, that kind of like support both campaigns being there. They're like involved in the party. Civilians. Some people are probably not. They're more like they're connected to politics, and that's how it was. That's what I saw there. Again, my homie got me more interested. I'm like, all right, I said, I'll come. He's like, you'll just come through. I told him straight up, listen, bro, I don't give a damn about either one of these guys. I said, to be honest. I said, I don't know much about it, but I'm doing my research. But that's not common because, because I fuck with you and we're friends. And, maybe like you could show me a thing or two. And that's just what happened, And then he's going to show me the poll. I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of knew that like Fetterman was going to win. I just didn't know it was going to be like, what I mean, I want to say he won by a landslide or like a demolish, by a long shot, I don't know. But I mean, he won. It was like pretty clear that Fetterman side won. It wasn't like super close. It was close, but it wasn't that close that way. So.
Right. Yeah, to be honest, here's another spark. Honestly, somebody was telling me the other day, I don't know if this is true or not, and I really don't know if he's really electable at this point, but we'll see. I heard there might be an announcement that Trump is going to officially announce that he's going to be running in 2024. So Donald Trump might be running again. I know a lot of people that like him and a lot of people that don't like him. So this could be an interesting thing to see. We'll see. That is not official yet. It hasn't been announced.
We'll see what it goes. You know what? I heard about that too, bro. And again, I don't know how true. I guess it's true that like the rumor is true, but the rumor within the rumor, like he's really going to vote, or just a rumor. It is rumors, and so that part is true. Whether he's going to vote or not, we don't know if he's eligible. If he's eligible, I can see him doing that. We'll just stop him. He's going to do it. Now, will we know for sure? Will it be confirmation? We'll find out soon enough. I mean, if he goes for it again,
yeah. If somebody
else comes along, that's a little better. He's not going to get a lot of votes by default because people happen to
right
believe like Trump. Even after he left office or before he left, a lot of people that were hating on him early in his campaign, in his presidency, were actually starting to like believe more and kind of like him more. I knew a guy that was all against him on Facebook. He was very against Trump, and then I don't know what became all proud Trump. I'm like, damn, really? The conversations like that? You documenting everything? I'm not gonna say his name, but he's a very local kid on Facebook, man. I mean, he's lost friends because of the stuff he says, and he's big into the whole alpha male strategist thing, the whole red pill thing. He's very big on that, bro. But I'm like, I have to each your own, bro. I'm done, helping folks. If you don't see it, I can give you my perspective. Whatever you see, you should see. If you don't go with that and go left like this and go hit the wall, I'm giving you some insights. You go and go forward. Don't fucking go and hit a wall. Don't take every word you hear these guys, influencers say on YouTube like it's a law. It's not. You shouldn't think for your own. But let some of the stuff influence you. If you feel like what they're saying is right, you can identify with it, then take it for yourself. But don't act like, well, he says it's got to be true now. Well, he can say a lot of things,
Right.
He says it's true.
Yeah, exactly. On the music side of it, what we've been seeing this week, a lot of people, I actually put this in our promo on the hip hop side of it, or I guess on the rap side. Drake just released with 21 Savage this week. I don't know if you saw Her Lost. It was released on November 4th. So it was actually released. It was actually released a day after we did the podcast last week. It was released last Friday. Her Lost.
The album or the song? Which one are we talking about first of all?
21 Savage and Drake. They released the album called
Yeah,
Her Loss.
they got the
Her
album
Loss.
right, and he has a song where he goes at every celebrity, a lot of celebrities. He makes a lot of. He said that the peace with Kanye was a bullshit ass made up. He didn't care about making peace with him, but it's mostly with Jay Prince. Made that kind of clear. You know, he wanted, and he said it. He said Jay Prince, Mob Ties. So when the song Mob Ties came, bro, I could say that I was one of the few people that knew what the song meant. People are like, "Well, Drake, Mob Ties, what are you talking about?" I told everybody, Lil Wayne did not discover Drake for fucking the 100th time. He never even knew who Drake was. Jay Prince Jr., the son of Jay Prince, when he discovered Drake and handed him to Lil Wayne in a way. I mean, handed him. He put him on, introduced him, Lil Wayne signed him. You know, of course, Nicki Minaj at the same time. They had Young Money and his history. Drake and Lil Wayne were group mates on again, Young Money. And he put him out there. I mean, Lil Wayne helped him. It's his bro for life. Drake is huge. Lil Wayne is huge. I mean, you know, Drake and Wayne have a great chemistry. You know, when they're together. I like them both like a lot. And then you have of course Nicki. I feel like Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki Minaj have an album. Let's talk about that album. That's what should be an album. But
Yeah,
story, you know.
exactly. Other
Drake
music
is
news.
future.
Bad Bunny won Apple Music Artist of the Year as well. Bad Bunny. So a lot of people who like Bad Bunny.
I bet. Well, Bad Bunny is hot right now. He's very trending among Hispanic people or Spanish-speaking population, as well as like others. I mean, he's just popular. Period. He's got a very big following. He's on fire and he's a trend. And he just like it's always the artist that comes out like it's his year. He's like the hottest artist. He's got around for like a little bit and then or for a few years or a year, and then he's just like the Fed kind of like the trend kind of like fades somewhere else. And they can still be nice, but they don't got that they're not like a top artist right away anymore. Drake was that guy at one point. Fetty Wap, remember he was the hottest at one point in the country, in the world. He was like they played his song all the time. Then it's just like he kind of like went another direction. Some people say he fell off. Wayne had that for a long time. Kid Cudi was the hottest artist at one point. Wiz Khalifa was big at one point. It was all about Wiz. It's like a revolution. When this artist comes along, bro, he becomes the biggest artist. Back in 03, for those that are old enough to remember, like myself, even you probably, because you're old enough, I feel like, 50 Cent was the artist in 03. He was the absolute baddest, nice artist. And then around 04 or 05, who was it? Kanye West. He had a College Dropout, which came out late 03 as well. And at one point, he was the hottest artist before he even wasn't as dope as a producer, although he was always a producer, and so forth. So he's always a hot artist, bro. Right now, it's Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
He's doing some big things. He makes very good music. I mean, his songs get played a lot. I mean, everywhere I go that I've been so far, and I mean, the nightlife a lot more now than I was years ago because my job. And they play a lot of Bad Bunny, so the concerts, the tickets are up. He was the main America for those that may not know. Although a lot of people probably went, even they watch the podcast. So yeah, Bad Bunny is definitely on top right now. And musically wise, I mean, it's in hip hop. It's been a lot. I mean, they killed Takeoff not too long ago. PNB Rock, Philly's own PNB Rock was killed. So it's like, rest in peace to both those guys. Both the brothers. But at the same time, the violence in hip hop is probably at an all-time high, and they even have a show about it on Tubi TV, as well as our man 50 Cent. He's the one that's actually doing a show on the death of some artists and on the investigations. I think I should look more into it. I should do more documentaries, series on that stuff because it's a phenomenon. It's a bad phenomenon, unfortunately, because it's death and violence. But it's just like he's taking a lot of dudes by storm. He's killing a lot of people. I mean, a lot of rappers have perished, And this was going on back, when we were young, bro. Like when we were like Rugrats and we're coming up, and we didn't really know much about rap because they killed Pac and Biggie years ago. But as we see, it never really ends. I mean, to be a rapper, the worst place is in your own hood.
Yeah, and also, so this is just kind of delving from music. I'm kind of trying to jump around here to kind of give you guys things. So there was a list that kind of came out, and it was the top locations right now that people are also traveling for the Thanksgiving holiday with Thanksgiving coming up. 3 of the top ones were, you had Cancun, you had Puerto Vallarta, and then on top of it, you had Cabo San Lucas as well. There were 3 of the top locations that are going to be traveled this year. So Cancun and Cabo are actually both from Mexico. Then you got Puerto Vallarta as well as
bro.
As 3 of the top locations that people are traveling. So if you're traveling to any of those areas, just be cautious. Just understand that it's going to be 2022. They were rated. London and Paris are also big ones too on the European side of it. Marius commented in, so music was the best in the late 90s and early 2000s. It was a great time for music, essentially. It was I would say it's a very underrated era.
Yeah. I would say up to the mid 2000s, it's still decent, but then it just changed.
And then we got the comment in here, says about to be 9-0, and that was for the Eagles. Yes, agreed. Yes, indeed. But those are big travel destinations. As well as if you look into the city, obviously, with Thanksgiving. So what are you guys' plans? I know we got 7 people, 7 people watching right now. What are you guys' plans for the Thanksgiving holiday, and what are some traditions that you guys do? I know around Christmas people do ugly sweater parties. People travel to different areas like New York. Is a tradition
Sweater
for a lot of
parties, Thanksgiving game, and Thanksgiving. I used to always play with back in the day, or in the snow. Now it can't snow Thanksgiving. Usually doesn't snow that early, but sometimes it does. So always. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, bro, I would do family get-togethers, bro. Watching a marathon of James Bond, Sean Connery movies, some of the best ones ever made. R.I.P. Sean Connery. Family coming over, bro. Literally, bro. Like some Christmases, we'll do like a pajama party, 10 pajamas all day. Well, until about a certain time, but definitely a lot of food being eaten. A lot of people coming, in the house. We don't have as many people here. I mean, because a lot of folks are far away, but we used to back in the day, and sometimes still do. Like last year, we had a decent Thanksgiving. My uncle was supposed to come by. Throughout the, we do a lot of, we celebrate a lot of times. We celebrate it, on either at our folks' house or they come over our spot, and we do it here. We do Christmas Eve and we do Thanksgiving.
Nice, man. Nice.
I mean,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean,
always a good tradition. We have the Thanksgiving parade as well. The Philly Thanksgiving parade this year. This year it's party with what is it? I saw something for it. It is.
Excuse me.
Oh, you're fine. It was a 6 ABC. You got the Thanksgiving parade. It is the theme this year is Party for the Holidays with Duncan, which is their theme. Obviously, that's one of the biggest. That's one of the big things in the city. Obviously, you have that. So Vanita commented. She said her plans are to bake a dessert, eat a large amount of food, drink some wine, and Black Friday shopping. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, Black Friday's a big deal for sure. Black Friday. I haven't been to Black Friday in a year or two, but I mean, I always kind of have a list of if I'm gonna go out Black Friday, trying to check something out, bro. I'm gonna buy something. I think it's let's kind of focus a little bit on the night before Thanksgiving. Though. For those that know, I mean, it's the night to go out and drink. I mean, and especially it's like a Wednesday usually. Man, Thanksgiving falls on a Thursday, man. It's like one of the craziest thirsty Thursdays ever. You just got to bring drinks in your own house and just drink it up.
Well, yeah, Thanksgiving Eve is essentially one of the biggest drinking nights of the year. It's where a lot of people build traditions and a lot of people do things. They go out the night before. And
right. I remember, Steve, imagine if the Phillies had won the World Series, what could have happened on the night before Thanksgiving, which is coming up? That would be crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, the parade would have already been over and everything like that. But
yeah, the feeling would have, the vibe would still be there. Yo, they just wanted to keep drinking, but it would have been about a month after the parade and everything. So
not even a month. It'd just be a couple weeks. It'd be a couple weeks after Houston just had their parade. Yeah, Houston just had their parade for the for the thing. It's going to be interesting. That would be interesting. But we still have football on Thanksgiving. That's one of the biggest ones. I'm not sure what the football schedule is this year, or who the Cowboys play every year. Let's see what we got. So for Thanksgiving, we have the Bills versus the Lions at 12:30. You have the Giants and the Cowboys at 4:30. Patriots and Vikings. It's kind of crappy. I mean, not really. Vikings are playing well. You want the Patriots to win, then
Vikings are okay. Patriots have never been great. It's like Brady left, but
Bill and Lions is trash because the Lions are not good. And the Bills will probably smoke them. And then Cowboys and Giants will be a good one. Be a good one.
I think so.
I just want to give you a heads up that we are at about the 45-minute mark, man. Just giving you a heads up with that.
You see another 5 minutes?
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I'm not in a huge, I know you got to go somewhere, but I'm not in a huge hurry now. But I might just kind of fall back and show for a little bit. But I probably, like I said, I definitely will contact people. We'll talk a little after the show here. So quick question, probably not even a relevant question at this point, but so Pittsburgh didn't do well this year. If they played and it'll be like a derby if they did play Buffalo Bills. The Bills will just smoke Pittsburgh this year. The Steelers got
Pittsburgh is not good this year.
Because they lost a lot of players, I heard.
Yeah, they're not. They're just not good. They're not a good football team.
Also the Bills, bro. I mean, the Eagles and the Bills, as far as on the East Coast. Because the Giants, they're coming up a little, but the Giants haven't been good in a long time. So I don't know, man. Right now it's about the Eagles. I mean, we are the top.
A little bit of a new team. You got Brian Dable as the coach over there, so that's interesting. I don't know. The Giants could. We really don't know because we haven't played the Giants yet. We'll be playing them twice coming up within the month, but we haven't really played them yet.
Yeah.
So we don't really know. The Vikings, I'll tell you what, the Vikings are 7-1. Their only loss is to us, ironically, right?
So we beat the
7-1. I need the Vikings to start losing some games so that way we could gain some ground on them because they're the only ones that's really riding our tail right now.
Our coattail. But here's the thing, though: if we go with them in the playoffs, like depending how things go, because we're gonna win our.
Even if they tie with us, though, we have the tiebreaker because we beat them.
We'll win the division. We beat them. We're 9-0. Well, we're about to be. We're 8-0, but we're 9-0 probably, and they're 7-1. Yeah, it's a tough one. And so we talked about this. Remember the podcast a few episodes ago? We talked about how they could be the biggest challenge. I mean, the Vikings are tough. The Giants are kind of, you know what I mean? We talked about it, and here we are now, like about essentially roughly 2 months later, talking about it, trying to express what's going on. And yeah, I mean, you know, we never thought that we knew that we had a good season coming up and a good preseason, but we didn't think we were going this far. We started 3-4 in a row. I do think we had a couple easy teams which helped us, but that doesn't take nothing away from the Eagles being almost 9-0 now, 8-0. And we could very well be 9-0 by next, I think today's a game, right?
What's that?
Isn't Eagles playing today or not?
No. They played Thursday last week. No, they don't play Thursday.
Yes, right.
Yeah, they play Monday. They play Monday night, actually. Monday night
football.
football.
We'll be in our way somewhere else.
Yeah. We'll be somewhere else to be able to catch it out there. Ironically,
it's so different to watch your team.
Yeah, guys,
in a different state.
Guys, small announcement. We will be doing the podcast from a remote location next week. Ironically, we're actually going to be in the same spot, so it's be remote. You know, you'll see it as we kind of get closer to it. You know, we're not going to reveal that right now.
Reveal morning time. Okay, let's put it that way. We're not going to say too much now. We'll reveal morning time, but we'll travel. Me and Steve, I think we all deserve it. And of course, Steve just turned 30, so it's a big, obviously, bro, it's a big part right now for you. It's a big part. And Marius, both turned 30.
I was going to say, and Marius, I agree with that, with your comment there. Seahawks are a sleeper team in the NFC, absolutely. And I'll be honest, a lot of people said they were going to like the worst team in the NFL. I was honestly hearing a lot of sports talk before the season began. They're going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. They're like, what are they right now? 6-3. I think they're 6-3. Are you serious?
Well, I mean, 6-3. At 6 wins, 3 losses. It's not a terrible record. It's not a great record either. I mean,
it's a pretty good record, man.
The 8-1 and 2 is better, but I mean,
it's a pretty good record. It's a pretty good record, man. Because honestly, there's not a lot. The NFL has not been great this year. Let's see what the standings are.
It's been a little. We've been the only consistent team, bro. Honestly, which is
obviously we're the number one. You know, that's not even a question because we're the only undefeated team left. But let's see in the league. The Seahawks are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seahawks are number 7 in the league right now, which is interesting. And in the NFC, the Seahawks are actually 5th. The NFC is the talent, man. I don't know, and then the AFC too, I guess. So this is interesting. You have Philly at 1, Minnesota at 2 in the league, 7-1. You have Buffalo at 3 at 6-2. You have Kansas City at 4. You have Dallas at 5. You have the Giants at 6. So Buffalo, Kansas City, Dallas, and New York are all 6-2.
Yeah, Dallas is doing well. Remember,
places 3 through 6 are all 6-2. The Vikings are 7-1 in the second spot, and obviously we're 8-0, so we're number 1. So I'm gonna be honest. You have the Jets at 6-3, Baltimore at 6-3, and Seattle at 6-3, and you have Miami at 6-3. So Miami had started 3-0, and I think they lost 3 straight. Now they've won 3 straight. It's been weird for Miami. Now they have Tua back, so it's interesting. Vanina said, "Is there any competition for the Eagles?" See, of course, there's always competition. I'm gonna say right now that. Buffalo's tough. Buffalo is tough. They're in the AFC, but we won't play them until we play the Super Bowl. Kansas City's, always a sleeper. You never know with them, with Mahomes. When you got the best quarterback in football.
On and off, but
they got Mahomes, who's the best quarterback in football. I mean, let's be realistic.
That's
not a diss to my guy Jalen Hurts. I'm just, based off the skill set, Mahomes is just very, very talented.
Mahomes is up there, bro. He's surpassed a lot of these guys, bro. He came back and all, but he's on his way out again. I mean, he's pretty much almost done. I mean, if he has another year after this, maybe we'll see. Aaron Rodgers getting older, something like he doesn't see his focus. A lot has been going on with him.
San Francisco. I'm going to be honest. I know some people I know don't like San Francisco, but so let's be. I'm going to be honest. San Francisco at 4-4 is a sleeper because they have a lot of injuries right now. You know, if they got a lot of their guys healthy before the end of the year, defensively they're a sleeper.
Yeah, man, a lot going on. Like I said, bro, San Fran is definitely looking out there, and we don't have a lot to worry about, but we only have a couple of teams that give us some problems, I feel like. And who was our toughest opponent so far out of his 8 wins that we had?
Who's been our toughest opponent?
Who would you say?
Who'd you say has been our toughest opponent?
Vikings,
I don't know. I really don't know. If you want to go by
games, there's been a lot of games.
Do you want to go by how tough a game was, or do you want to go by record? How tough the game actually was, or go by
no. Right, not by record. I'm saying not coming in the game, and then how both teams did after the Eagles.
Do you want
to?
Really
give us the hardest kind of game and the closest score, basically.
Week one, the Lions. We won that game 38-35. The Lions, who are not a good team, but they've given a lot of teams tough games. They're not a good team, but the Lions right now are the 4th worst team in the NFL. They are 2-6, but they've given a lot of teams tough games. They gave us the closest game we've had all season. That was week 1. That was week 1.
Team is not, and that just goes to show you even teams that are not that good teams, bro, sometimes get pulled together. Imagine they had beat us. The Lions probably played the best football of that game with us, which was the opener of the season. And another game that did really well recently. They didn't win too much. Again, they're not winning, but they're giving some decent performances, but the record doesn't speak for itself. Now, ironically, they were actually very close to us.
Yeah, Cardinals played us tough too. I don't know why. I thought the Lions when we really could have lost. That went right down.
The Lions giving us more tough time. That's what's up, man. I mean, every team is doing their thing, so we'll have to kind of keep watching this, and we're trying to bring a guest here, that has played professional football.
Arizona is expected to give us tough playing because I don't think we had won in Arizona since like 2003 before that. So I mean, it's tough. We don't win in Arizona very often. We win when they come here, but it's tough for us to win there. So that was kind of expected. I honestly had that on the schedule as a trap game that the Eagles were going to lose that game. But that was where the break was going to happen for me, where they weren't going to be undefeated. But they surprised me; they won it. But with that being said, I don't want to talk too much about sports, but we can probably get ready to wrap it up here. Next week's episode is going to be interestingly exciting. I'm excited. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, we're going to put some guys. We don't want to say exactly where, but a couple of things again behind the scenes work. So we're going to have 106. It's actually going to be next week. If we do take off and we don't do a podcast, we'll still be on something at Thursday. We'll be doing some kind of live streaming, guys. So
we'll do a stream.
We'll do a stream. It might not be an actual podcast like we do the show, the GNC show, episode. But official episode. But we do have a lot of content that we want to release, and again, that's something we've talked about. Is before we said it, we repeating it. Then now every time we do some content, it's an extra episode. The series we have the podcast. We have our little meetings that we do. Sometimes me and Steve will put on live, and sometimes we just have videos that we just do, like short videos that we might do like a little blogging, and we might talk about small things. And it's not quite an episode, but it's like a 10-minute thing, maybe 20 minutes. We usually go about an hour in our episode, sometimes a little less. Today might be a little shorter one, but we already have 55 minutes, so we're already pretty much a regular standard episode. But we definitely want to bring you guys show a little bit. We can show you more, I can tell you, but there's gonna be some big things happening this week. It's gonna be a very interesting month for us. Again, we would have liked the Phillies have won it, but we're just gonna have to get our hopes on the Eagles now and be up to speed with everything Eagles and Sixers. Now it's all about Sixers and Eagles with baseball being done. MLS kind of being over for the time being as well. The major soccer league, of course, which we are runners up now, and unfortunately we couldn't win it, but it's all good. And you know what though, Steve? Let's talk a little about before we move on. We have a few things to mention before we actually kind of like pull the plug for the night and shut it down. What about some of the tickets to these games? Let's talk about some prices for tickets. How about the cities making good money? Because again, we mentioned this earlier. The sport's doing well, but the sport's doing good. It means the city's doing good too, though. The tenants of games, people from all over coming all over the city, all over the world. Even sometimes, there's people that actually like American sports. Travel here. Oh, what's a cool thing to do in America? Oh, watch a baseball game. Well, you're in Philly in the Phillies. Oh, yeah, let's go. When they go. Like that does happen. I mean, did you not see? You know, in the World Series, there was some big names in there, bro. Bradley Cooper was there, I believe, the actor, and what's her name? Jill Biden, you know, the first lady. I believe she was there, if I'm not mistaken. I saw some
Yeah, I
celebrities,
mean
you know,
Bradley Cooper, Miles Teller was there.
Miles Teller. That's it. Yeah.
Meek Mill was
Meek
there.
Mill, of course. A couple local rappers, you know, some celebrities, you know, local celebrities. Yeah, Meek Mill was there. Who else was there? I think I want to say I think Jill Scott might have been there in one of those games. I know. And they show Meek Mill. Ironically, Meek Mill was sitting watching the game, and as as Maxi, right? Tyrese Maxi is dribbling. Somebody from their team is coming to our team. You know, like on our side of the court, it shows the referee running. As the referee's running, he trips over Meek Mill's feet and he falls. That's like a roll. It was hilarious because Meek had his feet kind of like laying out there. I'm like, how small is the fucking court side to the actual like line? It's pretty close because I mean, and Meek's a tall guy too. He's about 6'3", so he had his feet up there. I know this guy's seen it. You sent me the video. Cole sent me the video before you did. It was ironic. He was like chilling there, and somebody said, "Yo, Meek, keep your fucking feet nice and tight. Stop fucking leaving it hanging like that." Referees don't know where they're going. The linesman referee, he's running and he trips. That was so funny. You see that, right? Well,
I did.
I'm like, it just shows you that these games attract a lot of fans, especially the Philly sports. I mean, Phillies and Sixers have always been to attract a lot of people. Leo DiCaprio has been in the Sixers games before, Eagles too. But when you go to the World Series, it's a certain level of an audience you can actually see. So that was that, man. Again, as far as I can say, dude, I can tell you right now that a lot of rich people, a lot of investors were in the city because of the games. A lot of patrons, a lot of guys that own businesses and gym owners, stadium owners. Oh, yeah. I actually met a few of them, by way of my job. But one day, actually, after work, it was actually last week, bro, I ended up going with some friends to a place called Gardendale, which because I mentioned it before. A lot of people that watch it. A very good place. And one of the guys there, a gentleman named John, was there. I'd met him on my club working when I was working in the Lilas. So I got his number. We're talking. He's like, "Yo, why don't we go to an after hours?" And he's like, "You let me know one," because he doesn't let me feel anymore. I told him where to go. We go there, and we talked about it, man. And these guys make a lot of money. I mean, millions a year, bro. And we're talking about how the city itself, the fact that businesses apparently, again, I don't want to keep talking about sports because it's not what we want to talk about the whole time here. But it seemed like the whole aspect of sports brought butts to seats again, bro. The seats are filled, the stadiums were filled. And a lot of people that are from Philly who don't live here anymore, maybe because their business were coming here for their reason. And the prices of tickets was ridiculous. I mean, $1,400 for like the ones out there, bro.
That's how they make money, man.
Yeah. So when a rich individual was out there with his friends, then again, he invited me to go there. Well, I told him where to go. We went there. He got the VIP spot. It's pretty expensive there, but I mean, I was just in the back row by default. Cozy was there with me too. So was my boy Matt. They were there. And a friend of mine named Scott, who's actually kind of like a business owner on his own. Scott is actually on our age, but he's a business owner. One day, maybe we can bring him to the podcast and we can meet him because he's actually a great dude. We were talking in conversation, and he said the same thing. You go anywhere out of town, he said, when you're from Philly, you're proud of your team doing well. And sometimes, you just want to do good. It's not about you being an obsessed fan. It's about you believing your team. And, I mean, if you could do it and bring folks over here and fly out there because you got the means, you can bring a few friends, hey, go for it, These things, bro, don't come back. Who knows when it's the next time? I mean, for all we know, we might do well next year, and we hope so, but we don't know exactly when it'll be another Super Bowl or finals of MLS Cup or whatever the case may be.
Enjoy it. It's entertainment. It's nice to go along for the ride. You know what I mean?
It's good to beat Toronto because they beat us last time. I was watching, I think it was a basketball game. Was it preseason? They beat the Sixers. Like, damn, Toronto's just – or maybe it wasn't. No, it wasn't preseason. It was actually a season game. It was early in the season, like earlier. And they beat us.
Milwaukee's looking good already.
Milwaukee always had a decent basketball team.
Football, yeah, but I mean they look good already. Let's see what the stand-ins are.
Now I was watching the game yesterday, the Brooklyn Nets. I was watching LA get beat by the Clippers, I believe. The Derby, LA versus LA, basically. Well, it's funny because New York, the team was actually beating the New York Brooklyn Nets. And I seen that. I was like, wow, I seen Durant there. He missed a shot with he does a little thing where he arches his back and he shoots almost like this a little bit. He's so tall, he can like do a little almost like a trick shot, a trick free throw. And he made one, he missed one of them. I was watching, I was like, man, I just see consistency. I see a team that's a little bit lost. I like the Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
Despite what's going on, I mean,
the Bucks are 10-1 right now.
Yeah.
10-1. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. But anyway, we just wanted to keep this short. So we've actually already gone to an hour. So, guys, we can wrap it up here. If you guys have any comments, questions, anything, shoot us a DM. You can always comment down below as well. If you're watching the rebroadcast, which I know a lot of my close friends do because, a lot of them, some of them work the overnight shift where they can't really watch this, they're usually headed into work, essentially when we're going live. If you're watching on the rebroadcast and you see something like you want to chime in, comment down below. We always appreciate the feedback, and I always try to answer. Regardless, if you guys want to DM me or George, I try to pay attention to my Instagram DMs, Messenger as well on Facebook. So feel free to DM either of us.
DM us or just write a
Check
comment.
out,
I mean, we could
check out our other
comment.
pages too. We're going to be making some upgrades to the navigation side of the website. We want to make it as quick and easy, and we actually want to put some new stuff on there as well. So keep your eyes open for that as well. You can view our website by just clicking the link tree down below on the stream. So if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, it says right in the bottom there's a clickable link for our link tree, which brings up all of our platforms, and you can see that there's a personal website there and our merch store. Check it out. We got some pretty cool stuff. We have hoodies, t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, all different types of stuff, phone cases. So check it out. With that being said, also shout out to Will Edel. What's his name? Edelstein.
Will Jewish Sauce Boss Edelstein. That's his brand.
Got you. Jewish Sauce Boss. Check him out. He's down on South Street. He's the Jewish Sauce Boss. If you guys didn't check out episode 104, highly recommend that you do so. It was a really informative and really good discussion with an entrepreneur himself, who started his company in 2018 with dealing with medical marijuana. Really informative, and it was a great discussion. So feel free to check out that episode.
104 is streaming now, guys. It's been streaming. Watch that one. This one is obviously we're not now. It'll be streaming in a few after we finish the show in a few minutes. Definitely check out the last few episodes and be on the lookout for the new ones and for some stuff we do, guys. We always want to, like Steve always says, we always strive to learn and kind of go and change things around because we do believe, and we have the belief that change in this kind of thing is good to kind of change the format around a little bit. Topics, we don't want to say the same thing over and over or keep it the same. We want to grow. Obviously, we're in a discussion in the middle of trying to get some more equipment and possibly get a studio. And again, we have mentioned in the past, but now we're actually trying to get closer to it. And again, today was more about the fall and what's going on in Philly, but it is fall, so enjoy that. The colors, the leaves falling. The thing I don't like about fall as much was the cleaning up the leaves, but I've got used to it now, wrecking leaves. But watching it fall, man, it's so cool and so peaceful. Watching, enjoying a nice little fall day, a little cool, and that feeling of wearing a hoodie, it's nice and warm, but it's not too warm. It's kind of cool, but it's not very cold. But I kind of like that cold, that feeling, that smell of the smoke. Smoked wood, bro, like you're chopping up wood or smoking the wood, you're literally going you're burning it as it is, and you're smelling that smell of wood being burnt.
Right.
Man. Nothing better than that, dude. That's the coolest
really
part. It's fall. I used to always go to my cousin's house and you chop wood and burn it, and you smell just like that, bro. It's like that. It's like the change of season because the trees are getting the leaves are falling, and it's like the cold is coming. Quite interesting. So you got to enjoy fall. Of course, football comes back in the fall, and baseball is towards the end of the the playoffs and all in the fall. So fall is very eventful for sports and for just in life in general. Some have to relax and get away. Fall to kind of recoup things and grind and enjoy things as you go, so to speak. So and again, Steve, I told you, fall is actually one of my favorite, not the main one, but one of my favorite seasons for sure.
Yeah, it's one of mine as well.
I mean, you're born in fall, so obviously for you makes sense too. But of course.
Yeah. But I am actually going to wrap up here because I actually have to leave at the moment. But guys, with that being said, keep your eyes open for next week because it's going to be a very interesting stream. Like George said, even if we don't go live for 106, we will be on streams. We'll be sure to stream. We'll be sure to stream not just on Instagram but also on Facebook as well, and maybe even do a live stream on YouTube as well. Just keep your eyes open.
YouTube. It doesn't need to be an episode, just something for fun. I mean, we'll see how it looks because we want to show you guys a little bit what we're going to do out there and just basically know where we're going to go. We don't want to say too much, but you guys will find out soon enough. But the view and all that, it should be fun. It'll be nice to go get away again and fly again. So
for sure. But with that being said, guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you guys next week, regardless if it's an episode or not. But keep your eyes open; it's going to be interesting. Take care, guys.
Have a great one.
Thank you
for tuning in and
be true and be you.
Peace.